evening, everyone. My name's Daniel. I'm Ryan's favorite little brother, self-proclaimed. Actually, the only truth about that is I'm still the littlest of the brothers. We're all here tonight, Paris, Garrett, Marvin, and myself, to introduce a man who's been more than a mentor. He's been our friend, our coach, our guide, our brother, and more often than not, our life-saving GPS. Now, Ryan has always considered himself to be young, but let's be honest. He's basically been living in a Progressive insurance commercial about turning into your parents for the past 28 years. You know the ones about the man making small talk at the gas station? Except Ryan wasn't really a talker. I remember him having this giant notebook and calculating whether the gas pump was giving him his actual cost per gallon, like he was getting ready to build a case in court.
Great speech, Daniel. All right, my name is Paris, Ryan's second little brother. I guess I'm the quiet one of the group. Growing up, I didn't really see people that looked like Ryan. And because of that, I didn't know if I could really trust him or not. But Ryan showed me that goodness has no color. He was genuine, pure, and a great example of a human being. He never tried to change us. He let us be ourselves while always pushing us to be better. My dad was murdered when I was 16 years old, and I kind of didn't know how to, take it. It was very hard for me to make decisions, and Ryan was there to help me through that. I was so grateful to have him in my life. He was there to give us all hope when we felt like giving up.
I'm Garrett. Just let me handle it, God. But without Ryan, I wouldn't be able to handle much at all. I would have been lost in space. He kept me grounded, focused, and out of trouble. He was a guy taking us 6 a.m. workouts and on hikes because he wanted us to prove ourselves. And he was consistently showing us what it looks like to put family first.
Hello, my name is Marvin. I'm the greatest to ever do it. Yes, that is my title. Ryan cannot take it from me. Ryan helped me become a man. I grew up with anger, with fights, with challenges that could have broken me. But he shown me that I didn't have to choose that path. He taught me life skills, patience, perseverance. He never judged us, and he only guided us. And yes, he also showed us those terrible dance moves with the 2 pointer fingers up in the air. But that's Ryan. Serious when it mattered, goofy when it needed, always there no matter what.
Here's the truth. Because of Ryan, we are all brothers, even though I just met mine today.
He gave us more than advice. He gave us acceptance and belonging.
He never let us give up.
He gave us opportunity, discipline, and a great example to follow. And because of that, each of us stand here today as a living proof of his impact.
He never allowed us to fail. He always kept pushing us to go for more.
He taught us how to copy the empty images we saw in music videos, but to be ourselves.
He gave us sorry. I'm sorry, guys. Sorry. He gave us opportunity, discipline, and a great example to follow. Because of that, we stand here as living proof. of his impact.
Ryan, you're more than our mentor. You are our brother. And because of you, we are four men who will carry your life lessons and examples for the rest of our lives, creating generational change. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor to introduce the 2025 Big Champion Award winner, our brother, Ryan Waterman.
When it's your time to shine, I'll never let you down. Your struggle is mine, I'll never let you down. When you feel like you're lost and there's no one around, I will be your solid ground, and I'll never let you down. I will never let you down. Everyone deserves a little happiness. It's hard to find in these modern times where our minds are filled with all kinds of stress. But when there's someone who's by your side, it makes you feel like you can heal and everything will be alright. There is something about love that you need to know. The more and more you choose to give, the more it grows. The greatest thing about love everyone needs to know. The more and more you give away, the more it grows. When it's your time to shine, I'll never let you down.
Well, that was a pretty good introduction. I don't know, probably the best I've ever seen. Thank you, guys. It means more than I can say to have you guys here with me tonight. As you can see, I was privileged to gain 4 brothers through the Big Brothers Big Sisters program. You may be wondering if that's typical, and I can tell you that my experience as a big was very unusual, to say the least. Tonight I'm going to tell you some stories about spending time with my brothers, but before I get to that, I have to tell you about the 4 minor miracles that led me to be here before you tonight. First minor miracle. I'm 22, working my first post-college job in Visalia, California, and I'm coaching a rec soccer team of 12-year-old boys. Daniel is one of my best players. And I know a little bit about his family because my boss's son is on my team too, and his family watches out over Daniel's family. And over the 12-week season, I learned that Daniel was looking for more than a soccer coach. He was looking for a mentor. But once we lose in the semis and the season ends, I kind of lose touch. About a year later, praying before bed, I find myself thinking about Daniel, even wondering if I should reach out to him. But how do you call up a mom and say, hey, I'd like to hang out with your kid? Kind of weird, right? Then driving one day, I hear an ad on the radio for Big Brothers Big Sisters, and I think, perfect. So I ask my boss to talk to Daniel's mom and put him in the program. And then I call up Big Brothers Big Sisters and I volunteer to be Daniel's big. Now, it probably won't shock you to learn that when a volunteer comes to Big Brothers Big Sisters and asks to be matched with a specific child, that's a huge red flag for child safety. Today it's never done, and it would be enough to blacklist a volunteer forever. Not knowing this, I don't think it's weird that the CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of Tulare County comes to my home to personally interview me, instead of a match support specialist interviewing me in their office. At one point he asked me, how did you learn about Big Brothers Big Sisters? And I say, I heard your radio ad. And he gives me this funny look and he says, we haven't run any radio ads, not in a very, very long time. To this day, I don't know why they matched me with Daniel, despite the red flag, or where that radio ad came from. But he's been my brother for 28 years and counting. That's miracle number 1. Miracle number 2, I'm riding a bus in Berkeley, California. It's 1999. I just started law school. Beautiful woman sits down on the bus next to me. She says I sat down next to her, but you know. I'm up here and she's down there. We barely say hello, but over the next couple months, we kind of become friends. I finally get the courage to ask her out, and one of the first things I learn about her is that she's a big sister. And in that moment, it felt to me as if our brand new relationship took this big step forward because we suddenly knew something deep and important about each other, how meaningful that experience was of being a big. We get married in 2002, start our lifetime support of Big Brothers Big Sisters together as a couple, and Daniel was one of my groomsmen. Incidentally, Julie and her little sister Vanity have been connected now for 29 years and counting. They've got us by 1 year, Daniel. Third miracle. It's 2003, and I'm working my first post-law school job working for a federal judge in Springfield, Illinois. I volunteer to be a big brother, and I get matched with Paris, who's 12. A couple months later, Paris' family moves out of town, and our match ends, and I get rematched with Garrett, Paris' best friend. About 2 months later, Paris moves back to town, and his mom calls me and says, "Can we get back together?" And I'm like, well, we kind of already got another little brother. And then another month or two later, Marvin's big brother moves out of town, and before he leaves, he says, "Hey, man to man, will you watch out for Marvin?" And of course I said, "Yes, what are you gonna say?" And I go to my match support specialist, and she okays me with meeting with all three boys as long as I still meet one-on-one time with Garrett. And that's how an organization founded on one-to-one mentoring approved a group mentoring relationship over 20 years ago, giving me three brothers with an excess of personality. Like, look at these guys. All right, fourth and final miracle. It's April 2025, and I'm home in San Diego. On an unremarkable Tuesday night, I collapse with internal bleeding and am rushed to UC San Diego Hillcrest. We don't know it yet, but I'm about to come as close to dying as you can get. Later that night, I code for about 7 minutes before the doctors bring me back. I should not be here, but here I am. By the grace of God and the extraordinary skill of my medical team at UC San Diego, some of whom are here tonight. Thank you, you guys. I'm alive and here to celebrate with you guys about Big Brothers. Unsurprisingly, my recent near-death experience has caused me to consider if that had been it, would my life have made a mark in this world? And that's led me to think a lot about my brothers, our time together, and how much being a part of their lives has meant to me. You know, the secret I have to share about being a big is that spending time with my little brothers was always a high point of my week. Being a big brother enriched my life in so many ways, but let me try and name a few. It gave me an excuse to be a kid again. I went to water parks, I roller skated, saw terrible movies. Tina wants me to say they were also awesome, but the terrible movies. Playing basketball, going to sports games. It was fun. And I got to be there for them when it mattered. When Daniel was in 8th grade, he had to do this big end of the year English project on 4 different genres of English literature: poems, plays, novels, and short stories. He had to write a little book report on each form of genre. He had to write another little essay on 4 examples of the genre. And then he had to come up with an original poem, an act of a play, a short story, and a chapter in a novel. I know, who was this English teacher, right? And in typical 8th grade boy fashion, Daniel shared with me that this project was due about 2 weeks before the final deadline. And he pulled out his Trapper Keeper and a bunch of papers that were kind of all smashed together. And we went into emergency mode and we worked for 2 straight weeks every night, Daniel writing and me furiously typing. And those late nights were totally worth it when I saw the look on his face when he told me he'd earned an A. Or when I challenged Garrett to pass all his classes and hung the carrot of coming to San Diego for a summer vacation in front of him. And Garrett worked all year, even fighting his way through math, which he always had a challenge with, passed all his classes and earned that trip to San Diego. I can't tell you how proud I was of him. And the phone call I got from Marvin when he shared that he'd won an essay contest in high school. He worked steadily on that project on his own initiative, taking steps towards the goal of finishing it, taking the risk to submit his essay, and then finally winning just before he graduated in 2012. And finally, Paris. His family moved a lot. When he graduated from high school in Columbus, Ohio, that was his 5th high school in 3 states in 5 years. Definition of perseverance, that guy. And when Paris's mom asked me to help him tie his tie, I was so proud of him, I almost couldn't remember how to tie a tie. You may be surprised to realize that I was only officially matched with Daniel for about 2 years. And with these 3 guys, Garrett, Marvin, and Paris, for maybe a year, year and a half. So most of our relationship has been over texts, phone calls, letters, and the occasional visit. As I look back over that time, I realized that a lot of what we've talked about over the last couple decades is what it means to be a man in our complex society. And it seems like our country's really having a conversation about that, aren't we? About the state of men and boys. You know, whether they're falling behind, as Richard Reeves in his book of Boys and Men has claimed, and some major newspaper articles have suggested. And we know from a recent GQ magazine survey that of 2,000 men that men are thinking about that too. You know, 58% in that survey said that they worried about there not being enough male role models. And 68% worried that children were being exposed to harmful examples of male behavior. Now, I'm here to tell you, this is not a new topic. In fact, the Big Brothers Big Sisters program was founded in 1904, partially to address a boy problem that was happening over 100 years ago. And I'm here to tell you that Big Brothers Big Sisters is here to play a critical role in the challenges that boys and men face today. We know that Big Brother's model of mentorship works. It's been proven by social sciences, and you've seen many examples of it here tonight. If you'll indulge me for just a second, I'd like to conduct a little experiment. First, can you bring to mind the most important person to you about forming your idea of what it means to be a man? Hold that person in your mind. Now, imagine if that person never existed. How would you have found your way? While Big Brothers Big Sisters tracks numerous positive outcomes for youth and takes an evidence-based approach to mentoring, as you've heard about tonight, it does not capture data about whether our littles do better than their peers when it comes to forming a positive definition of what it means to be an adult in our complex society. So, against my better judgment, I asked my brothers what they learned from me. Yeah. Have a plan for your life and set goals to get there. Show up when you say you will. Don't drive when you're tired. Be on time. Confidently face things that are difficult. Relationships require listening and talking problems out. Don't watch so much TV. Put your education first and make time for things that are important. The question I want to leave with you all tonight is this: how can we expect boys and girls today to form a healthy, positive definition of what it means to be an adult if they lack a positive role model in their lives? And if that lesson is so important to family formation, to their success, to our society, how could we just leave it up to chance? In fact, a few days ago, Governor Newsom launched a statewide initiative called the Men's Service Challenge, seeking 10,000 men to volunteer as tutors, mentors, coaches, to support the well-being of young men with mentoring organizations like Big Brothers Big Sisters front and center. I think Big Brother succeeds in so many ways but particularly in helping people find a positive view of what it means to be an adult. In closing, I'd like to thank my wife, Julia. Thank you for saying yes to me 25 years ago on that bus and making my life richer and fuller than I ever imagined it could be. And thank you for your partnership in support of Big Brothers. Thank you to my children, Ben, Luke, and Kate, for your love and support, especially through this very tough year we've been through. And for my mom, Donna Waterman, and my in-laws, Dr. Neil and Marilyn Roller, for being here tonight and for joining us in supporting Big Brothers. I'd also like to thank the many friends and colleagues who were here, make time to be here tonight, and those who provided support from afar. And most importantly, I'd like to thank my big brother, or my little brothers, who are not so little anymore, for allowing me to be part of their lives for so long. And I hope you guys will continue. Before you leave tonight, I'd like you to consider taking 2 actions. First, I encourage you to join the Matchmakers Society to provide monthly support for mentoring in San Diego. That's how the work gets done, with money behind it. And second, I urge you to consider whether being a big is something that you could do. As every big brother or big sister will tell you, it takes no special skills. And you'll be surprised at how much it comes to mean to you. Thank you very much. Good night.
Your struggle is mine, I'll never let you down. When you feel like you're lost and there's no one around, I will be your solid ground, and I'll never let you down. I will never let you down. Life is full of different circumstances. Well, some of us get a few lucky breaks, while others get all the chances. It's never the same forever.